I guess is the moral of the story that if you ask Demetrious Johnson to go to the ground and play with some jiu-jitsu, then you might get what you ask for?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, Wilson Hayes, he's a great guy. He's had 30 MMA fights. He's a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and this is the first time he's ever got submitted. So that just shows you the type of stuff I'm working up with Matt Hume, Brad Kurtz, and AMC, Pay Creation, Kirkland, Washington. I'm a white belt in Jiu-Jitsu. I haven't really been able to put a lot of time into my gi game, but I'm always putting a lot of effort into my submission grappling.
I mean, we've seen you submit guys before. We've seen you submit guys with 1 second left in a 25-minute fight, which is amazing in and of itself. But as you went through your prep work for this fight, was that something that you thought was in the cards? That, you know what, hey, I'll go down to the ground with him and tap him?
You know, I don't, like I said, ever since I was an amateur, I've never put predictors on my fights. You know, I'm well-rounded enough that if I see something, I can capitalize on that. And I think after the fight, when I got up, I looked at my coach's face. They're like, what? Good job. And I mean, I have the skill set to do it. So I was happy to be able to work the things that we worked on, and then everything just worked out perfect.
In terms of what he was doing in the fight, it seemed like he had a fairly solid-looking game plan. You were never around to get hit on the end of most of his punches. Do you feel that was the situation in there?
Yeah, I guess you could say that. You know, I worked extremely hard this camp. I was very focused. And we watched a lot of video on him. We had Bibiano Fernandez come down, work with me, Matt, and the rest of the guys. And like, okay, you know, I'm the man from the jungle. I'm pure jiu-jitsu. This is what he likes to do. And for us to be able to take a step back and listen to Bibiano and ask him questions, you know, as a jiu-jitsu practitioner, why do you want to do this? Why does this make you feel comfortable? So when we got in there, you know, last night while everybody was out, you know, rehydrating, having a good time, like, yeah, I made weight. I was in my workout room working out, going over the things we need to do to execute, and Tyron Woodley was there to witness it, and he goes, dude, like, I literally just watched what you were doing last night in the training room in the octagon.
You're the #1 guy in the world right now. You've set yourself up to be the #1 guy of all time. Are you at a point yet, like in this 10 title fight run, where you can start ranking some of your performances? And if so, where does something like this kind of fall on the list?
Well, it's hard because I haven't been able to seen it yet. I haven't seen the fight. But it was a good one. I think everything that we worked on, I would say the NCAA wrestling tournament kind of got me fired back up. Matt Hume's son, he just started wrestling, and them going and hearing them talking about all wrestling was awesome last night. So I was like, I need to get my wrestling back on point. You know, my background's wrestling. I've out-wrestled guys who've gone to college and wrestle, so that was a huge inspiration for me to get my wrestling. And my takedown defense tonight was perfect, even though he's been able to blast through people. and they had a great game plan. You know, I talked to Dominic Cruz already. He goes, you guys are well prepared.
Now that you've accomplished the 10 straight successful defenses, can you put it into perspective what that means now that you've done something that only Anderson Silva has done, and you have a chance to break that record now?
Yeah, it's definitely awesome. I think any champion in the UFC or any sport, you know, the Chicago Bulls, you know, when Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen, and Dennis Rodman were together, they wanted to try to get as many championships as they could. For me, you know, I got 10. I could take this belt home, and hopefully next time I fight, I can break it. And then I might go for 13 or 14. Why not set the bar high? You know, Usain Bolt, he's the fastest man on land. I'm the fastest man in mixed martial arts. So I'm going to keep on proving that, and hopefully I can set it to like 15. Then I'll retire. Then I'm like, okay, Matt, I'm done. Brad, it's awesome. Let's just train together and keep on getting better and not put my body through, you know, the turmoil of cutting weight and the aches and bruises.
Demetrious, just do you feel that being the record holder or tying the record for most title defenses, do you feel you deserve maybe more recognition from just maybe the casual or layman fan?
You know, I'm not searching for that. That's not why I do this sport. I'm not going out there and have everybody put that, you know, vote on me to be prom king for the UFC. You know, I'm out here showing the best fighter in the world, and I think tonight I proved that by, you know, dominating a world-class grappler. I don't think I got touched on the feet, and striving for more as a champion. You know, a lot of champions get in there and they think they know what they're doing. They don't trust their coaches, and they jump camp they can't. But for me, I stay focused. I believe in my coaches, and I thank them so much for putting so much time and effort into me and away from their family. So,
Did you watch Tim Elliott fight at all? Did you get a chance to
I
watch?
did not. I can tell you right now, I'm sure it was a massive scramble going back and forth, and I'm pretty sure that's how the fight went down.
You know, that was a pretty tough defense you had against him a while ago. You never know who your next opponent is. He probably put himself in position to maybe be the guy you have to break the record against. How do you, if that's, no matter what do you feel like Tim brings to that class?
I think my first John Dodson fight was probably my toughest title defense. He dropped me 3 times. Tim only had me in a guillotine for maybe a minute and 40 seconds. There's 25 minutes in a title fight, so I think you better check your math, buddy. Just being honest.
Yeah. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Demetrious,
Yeah.
is that belt yours? Are you going to be taking
I'm
that?
taking this motherfucker home.
So now you have 2 belts, right?
I got 2 belts.
Okay, what's the story in the 8 other belts that are owed to you?
You know what? Hopefully they send it to me. You know what? But I got my 2 belts, one for Tyron and one for Maverick, so they don't have to fight over one. And then you know what? I'll sit down with Dana White and talk to him. You know, like I said, I just want to capture that photo that Floyd Mayweather has done. Andre Ward just did it. You know, the champion, all my belts. You know, I'll even bring my amateur belts just to show the process I went through to get all these belts. I mean, 10 title defenses. That's sometimes when I take a step back and smell the rose, I'm like, damn, I've been a champion since 2012 September when I won it in Toronto, Canada, and I'm still here today.
Awesome, congrats.
Thanks, man.
Demetrious, before you could even really get back probably out of the octagon, you were asked a question about Cody No Love. Shortly thereafter on Twitter, he mentioned that he feels like you're still that you're dodging him. Is it just more the case that you have more unfinished business in the flyweight division?
You know, the whole thing with Cody, I'm not really worried about it, dude. Like, if somebody comes, I've never told anybody down to come to my weight class, right? Like, I have nothing but love for the guy, but at the same time, he just won a belt. You know, he just won a belt. I've defended it 10 times. I've been in the sport longer than he has. Like I said, if he comes down and wants to fight at 125, we welcome it. But he doesn't get to dictate. Well, maybe, I don't know. Maybe he does get to dictate according to Dana White. Or I don't know. But at the end of the day, it is what it is. If Cody comes down to 125 and UFC deems him ready for a title shot, perfect. We can get him up. But until then, he's got to fight TJ Dillashaw. Then they just signed a new 135er, Molin Moraes, and Dominic Cruz is still there. So for me, I'm just focused on making history, going for 11 title defenses, and then I have options, and I can decide like, you know what, maybe I'll go up to 35 and fight him for his belt. You don't have to cut 25. You just keep on defending your belt. You get 3 or 4 belts on title defenses, and I'll come up. Then I'll fight you. Then you don't have to worry about cutting 10 more pounds. Or unless you want to, then that's fine too.
You obviously mentioned a fairly hefty number in the cage. How confident are you that for your next one you're going to get past that $1 million mark?
I better. I better.
And is that, I mean, obviously that's part of the conversation that'll take place with Dana as well. And have you talked to him about it already, and what does he think? We should have asked him about it when he was in here.
You know, I'm straight up and honest, dude. Like, I've been doing this for a long time. I'm a great company guy. I don't bash my company. I don't bash my opponents. Never missed weight. Never done any drugs. Not at home beating my wife. Crashing my car, do cocaine, all that stuff. I'm not asked for a lot.
You're just a video game nerd. That's
yeah, I'm just a video game. All I do is go home, drink beer, play video games. That's all I do. And change diapers. That's all I do.
Do you start to feel like when you're in fights like this that you are watching yourself from the outside and that you are a video game character at some point?
I think that's how Matt and Brad feel probably. But for me, like I said, when I'm in the fight, I always think it's worse than it actually happens. Then when I get home and see it and see my footwork and rethink my mind process in the fight, then I can sit down and be like, okay, that's legit, that's good. I could have took advantage of him there and all that stuff.
Demetrious, I just have one question. Going back to your division in that 11th title defense, you'll hear a lot from fighters in general and champions. It doesn't matter who you put in front of me, but if you absolutely 100% had to pick a name for an 11th title defense, who is it?
It would be Chael Sonnen, because he would sell the hell out of that pay-per-view. You said pick a name, and I did. There you go.
All right.
Or Conor McGregor. I mean, nowadays everybody's talking about big money fights, right? Big money fights. I am not afraid of one man in this whole UFC octagon roster. I truly don't care. What's going to happen to me? I lose? I get knocked out?
Yeah, well, you've already defended this 10
Well,
times.
I know, but I mean, a lot of people are calling, oh, fight him, he's scared. I was like, dude, I'll fucking fight Conor McGregor for the biggest payday of my life.
Right.
If I got knocked out, perfect. Thanks, Conor, you weigh 170 pounds, but guess what? I'm going to be laughing all the way to the bank. So when people try to call me out, like, oh, you're scared, it's just like, no, dude, like, come out at 125, we can fight. But if you ask me, who would I like to fight, and I know I'm going to make the most money, I'll fight Conor McGregor.
Right, it's red panty night, right?
Was that?
It's red panty night.
No,
right?
no. We passed that shit. There ain't no more red panty night.
All right, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Dana mentioned earlier he saw you backstage after your victory, and you were asking your coaches, "What did I do wrong? What did you do wrong tonight?"
For me, I would have liked to. Obviously, everybody probably looks at it as perfect, but there's times in the fight when I get him covered up that I could have stayed there a little bit longer to make him miss more and then capitalize on the right hand. I wouldn't mind getting him in the clinch a little more, but it's always weird for me. I see things. I'm like, is that right? Could I have done better there? But that's probably the biggest thing. Like when he was covering up, be there in his face, and then when he turned and throw his right hook, make him miss, and then hit him with that right hand, left hook, right hand, or high 10. So I really wanted a knockout tonight. I really wanted to knock him out. But hey, submitting to black belt, don't get no better than that.